My name's Josh Scott. I'm a broadcasting mass communications major with a film minor.
Kelly Brucker. I am a broadcast journalism major, PR minor.
Elizabeth Nunnally, and my major is broadcasting and mass communications. I wanted to make this project because
I want to know what other people did with their careers, what they did with their degrees.
I wanted to hear, what other people who graduated from BW, how they were feeling when they graduated.
There's a lot of working up the ladder.
If they're successful or if they had downfalls.
If you can't find yourself a niche and really exploit it, or just work yourself up the ladder in some organization like a TV or a radio, it's really tough for you.
You can do this. You're not gonna be a hobo living on a street.
And kind of where are they now, just to make me feel a little bit better about myself when I graduate in May.
So it's nice to not only meet these people, but also share with other BW students and other people that are in college what they should do upon graduating.
To give myself a little bit of, it's gonna be okay.
Once you walk out of these doors, you're a grown up. You never get the 4 years back, so I wish I would have enjoyed it just a little bit more too.
My name is Colleen O'Malley.
My name is Mike Davila.
Okay, my name is Melissa Nugent, but when I went here, I was Melissa Tabbert. I majored in business administration with a concentration in finance. And I loved it so much, I came back and graduated in '08 with my MBA.
And I was a double major in economics and political science.
Political science with a minor in art history.
What do I want to do with my major? That is a good question.
I actually started my first job the day after graduation. And I worked for an insurance company. I was a claims adjuster trainee.
I ended up in grad school right out of college, and in a sense it was almost like extending college a couple of years, and I was able to focus on what I wanted to, which was public administration.
And I'm a representative for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I got it right coming out of college. It was great. It was an awesome transition from college life to actual career.
The BW bubble has been good to me.
It's kind of bittersweet, I guess.
I'm nervous, but at the same time, I am so excited.
I'm nervous about graduation, I think mostly because I don't know anything else besides school.
I don't know, I think it'll be weird just not being in college.
I'll be sad to see school go completely. I don't just say college school entirely, it's going to be weird not waking up for classes.
BW is all you know at this point in my life, and so to think about leaving is kind of strange, I guess.
But it's very exciting. I feel like this is where a lot of the adventure starts, finding a place to live, finding a job that you enjoy.
Like, I know I'm going to have to start fresh, so I'm nervous, not so much for graduating, but more for what's to come after I graduate.
And that's what really excites me about it, but it's nerve-wracking at the same time.
And I just remember when I graduated and I sat there at the end of commencement and everything's done, and I was like, well, now what do I do?
So it was really an easy transition. I went off of my political science teachers and their recommendations and tried to see what was out there, and it was really an easy transition.
There was an adjustment period after you graduate. You go from some place that there's, at 2 o'clock in the morning in a dorm, you can find somebody that's willing to go for a walk to Walgreens or to, cause a ruckus with you at any time.
That transition was very smooth for me into an additional academic environment. And then my first job out of grad school ended up being with the federal government, and I was at the U.S. Department of State as a presidential management intern at the time of the PMI program.
Looking back on the past couple of years, and I think I wish I would have gotten more involved in BWTV and some of the different organizations that were closer to my major.
I think I would have gotten a little bit more involved. At BW, I really didn't, since I only had 3 semesters here, I really didn't get involved with anything.
I was in the commuter club.
I was on the swim team for 4 years. I was actually a diver.
And then I was also on the Model United Nations team through the political science and international studies departments.
And I also worked with the Alumni House.
I was in a sorority for a couple of years.
The biggest thing was probably my fraternity involvement with Phi Kappa Tau.
I was also active in Phi Sigma Alpha, which is the honorary society for political science.
I was also involved in student government, and I was the student body treasurer my senior year.
And then I was also in student government. I was on the student faculty court as well as the campus court, and I think those names have changed since then perhaps, but some of our interesting cases always involved parking ticket appeals, and of course parking tickets are always the fun thing on college campuses, right? So some things probably haven't changed in that regard.
I wish I had gotten more involved, but can't change that now.
I don't know how much more I could have gotten involved, but I wish I would have looked a little bit more as opposed to just accepted what was around me.
It's hard to say. I try to live a life without regrets, and there's really not a lot that I don't think I'd do differently from my BW experience.
I would say do more things on campus, have more fun.
I look at all the stuff that they have now, emerging leaders and all the other on-campus organizations that I wish I would have gotten involved in, because I wish I would have realized that in the future some of the contacts and connections I would have made in those would probably have paid off in the end.
To study abroad. I spent the first half of my senior year in the UK at a small school near Liverpool called Edge Hill University. And that was a really good experience that I think if I had not done that, I would look back on that and probably have some regrets for not having done it.
Oh, let's see, my favorite college memory.
I have a lot of really good memories from college.
My favorite memory,
Has to be appropriate, doesn't it?
probably freshman year.
My first week at Otterbein.
My roommate, all the friends I met in the freshman class used to go out at 10:30 to 4 a.m. every single night and play beach volleyball on the beach volleyball courts that we have here at BW.
Would probably be joining my sorority. I think that was, for me, a good decision. It's not for everybody.
At the same time, my roommate was moving in, and right away, like I had never talked to her on Facebook or anything or emailed her. So that was my first meeting with her. She gave me a huge hug, and she was just like, "Oh my God, we're gonna be roommates."
Just spending too much time doing crazy things late at night freshman year.
I called her my mama hen, and like we hung out that night, and we got to know each other so well, and she was always there for me.
It's a very strange memory. But
that was a big thing for me, and so I think that helped me grow a lot as a person. And when they'd annoy me, I'd want to push them away and be like, "Nope, new group of friends," and they're like, "You can't do that."
I think just the friends in general, that's like my favorite memory from college.
That was really good for me to learn how to build like relationships with other people.
My favorite memory would have to be
I have a lot of good memories from my time on campus.
going to comedy night here.
The summer between my junior and senior year, my dad got very, very sick, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and they had given him 6 months to live. And so I'm home working, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe I need to give up senior year.
I guess my favorite thing still today, even as I walk across campus, is when students arrive in the fall, and you start to get some of that crisp fall Northeast Ohio weather, and just the beauty of really the whole campus.
My mom reached out to BW and let them know that we had a financial hardship, and that obviously my dad wasn't going to be working, and depending on how the situation worked out. So Mr. Carmel, who's on the Board of Trustees, came through with a scholarship for me. And so my dad, a week before I was supposed to come back, I was part of the orientation program, so a week before I was supposed to move in, my dad was in the hospital, and he's like, "You need to go. You need to finish this, because if I die, I'm not going to have this on my conscience that you dropped out of college because of me. So you need to go. It's been taken care of for you. Just go." So I went, and I happened to live in Carmel. So I remember as soon as I got on campus, I reached out, and I got Mr. Carmel's address, and I wrote him a letter, and I explained my situation and everything. And I remember the first day of classes, President Collier at the time calls my dorm room.
Also, President Durst was on campus my senior year. He was our president, and his speech and just him in general being on campus was an awesome time.
Gosh, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Why does the president of the college want me in his office? And so I go there, and he's like, "Mr. Carmel called me. Do you know him?" And I was like, "Well, not personally." And he's like, he said he received the nicest letter that he's ever received, and he'd like to meet you. I'm like, "Me, really?" And so he came to the dorm and met me.
We really loved him our senior year, so he was always just a great guy.
My dad made it through and perfectly fine, but if it wasn't for Mr. Carmel, I would never have been able to make my senior year.
We had a couple comedians come into the union right here, and it was great, and it was fun, and professors went, and students went, and it was really, really, really great.
My favorite fun memory is when I was on the swim team, we won the conference championships, and it was the first time the swimming had ever won it. So I lived with the swimmers.
It's just a nice campus environmentally to be on, so that's a nice kind of generalized memory I guess I have of my time on campus.
We answered our room phone like Room of Champions for like a good month until we were ready to move on from it.
I love BW. I still work with the Alumni House.
I'm a class representative for the annual fund.
One, I'm an at-large member of the Alumni Council.
I'm the vice president of the BW Women's Club.
I like to take the kids to the football games, which is a lot of fun.
I'm the co-president of the Women's Alumni Athletic Association.
And then for a number of years, I was involved as the Board of Governors chairman for the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity on campus.
And walking just around BW around campus when we go on family walks, it's awesome. We love it.
I bring my kids back for homecoming and community day every year.
So now that I'm serving at the national level, I've kind of taken a step back from that and have more of a strategic role, but I still am around quite a bit.
I want them to know that this is their home as well, because that's what it feels like for me.
Reagan can point out Malachi Center and tell you that that's BW. That's BW to her, is the Malachi Center. Huh.